Alright, so we've reached a good stopping point for this phase of the illustration. What I'm looking for is for your illustration to look good as a black and white line drawing. Notice I have a variety of thicknesses of line, and by itself it looks kind of like it's been drawn by a marker or pen and ink. If it looks good at this stage, once you add the color, it'll definitely look good because everything will be nice and tied together. The black is keying in all the edges and shapes that we're working with. So to add the color, we need to work from our photograph. And our photograph, I'll turn on layer 1, looks like this. The color will be placed in between layer 1 and layer 2. So I want my black outlines to be on top. So I'm going to select layer 1 and then create a new layer in between it. So layer 3 is between those two. I've also locked off layer 1 and layer 2 just to make sure I don't accidentally draw on those. Now, to do the coloring, we're going to be using the eyedropper tool to select the color and then the pencil tool to draw it in. So the I for eyedropper and the N for the pencil. What I'm looking for creating this particular drawing is different color shapes that are a part of the face. This is why you want to have a good photograph that has high contrast, good shadows, good highlights. If I squint my eyes, I can see right here at the top of her forehead is a good shadow shape right there. So I'm going to draw off that shadow shape. If it happens to connect to another area, I can do that as well. Just draw off any amorphic shapes that you see. Same way for the rest of her forehead. Now, how many shapes you have will depend on you. In general, you want to keep everything nice and blocky. If you get the shapes too small, it'll be a lot of detail. And if it's a lot of detail, then it's going to start to look more like the photograph and less like an illustration. So when I do this, I'm going to try to keep my areas selected nice and big. So I've got my eyedropper tool. I'm going to click and hold on this shadow shape. Now I've picked up that local color. Press the N. Now I've got my pencil. And I'm just going to click and drag and draw off that particular shadow shape. Let's get funky. I'm going to go all the way down here and up to that. So if I turn off my picture, you can see that's what I've drawn off. That particular shape is a shadow. Do the same thing. Press I, pick up my eyedropper color, in this case this area. Then I'm going to draw off that area again. Now notice what I'm doing. I'm overlapping the different areas. One color and the next color. The reason I'm doing this is because it's going to create a little bit more dynamic shape later when I start to change up the blending modes. So right here where this one shape is overlapping this shape, that's what you want. You want to have that little bit of a gap from there. It's going to make your final illustration really pop out. Let's continue. So just turning it back on, hit I, select the color, and then outline that particular area. This is the kind of thing you can easily zone out to and just listen to music as you click and draw. Notice how big I'm making these shapes too. Not too small. If I get too small, it becomes really detailed, and that's not what I want. Instead, I'm just going to trust my eyes and what I see is one color and draw it off from that. I pick up a color, redraw it, I, press N, redraw that color. Now if I do get off by a little bit, that's okay too. You'll find that this portrait illustration is going to be very, very loose. The looser it is, kind of the funner it is. I pick up a color, N, draw it off. I pick up a color, N, draw it off. I do feel I'm looking at it too close. I'm going to back up some. I will pick up that color and then draw this off. See how it's coming along so far. So far, so good. That's what we're looking for, is this kind of patchwork, almost quilt-like kind of effect for my illustration. Now for the hair, what I'm going to be doing, rather than doing every single individual strand, again, treat it like highlights, midtones, and shadows. This time I'm looking for highlights, picking up those colors and just giving those particular shape patterns. There's highlights there. Going very, very quick with this, just giving it almost abstract kind of feel. As soon as I'm done with the highlights, I'll do the shadows, and then I'll go back in and add some midtones.